Welcome to my presentation. My name is Austin. I tried to build a program that would stream financial data and make predictions based on a model that I built. So I'm just going to walk you through this because there's a lot to go over. Um, First of all, I tried to create an FTP connection directly with AWS Transfer Family. It was very painful, no success, and it was expensive. So I settled on using a Python script that would download the files on my local machine, and then I used a few different functions to copy the files from my local machine to my S3 bucket, and then it would extract the zip files and sort them appropriately. So I'll just kind of go over this real quick uh, using environment variables here, and this is my Python script downloading FTP from a data vendor that has the financial data. So nothing too exciting. I'll run it again. Um, there should be no new files, and there's actually logic within the function to check if there's already that file existing in the path, so it doesn't keep downloading the same file over and over again. So yeah, no surprise there. 0 files downloaded this batch. That's what we want to see. Here we have the upload files, and this will take a long time, so we'll just kind of skip it. But basically, it's taking my local path and then uploading them to the S3 folder. Um, and here we start unzipping the paths in the S3 bucket, and then we sort them based on what they have in the file name. The way the files work is each day you get a zip folder with 3 different files for that day's data. There's option stats, options, and stock quotes. We just want stock quotes. We're not going to bother using option or option stats data. We only need stock quotes for our model training. So this is what's happening here. And you can see it's running, and it's probably going to find that, oh yeah, we already have all this. So it's not going to really do anything. It's going to delete any zip files it finds just so we can maintain a current database. So here we are copying the now unzipped files that are stock quotes into our another S3 bucket where we are running Athena queries. So it's explained in my report, but basically I could not get ETL for an S3 bucket into an RDS to work. So instead I compromised and ended up using Amazon Athena and using those queries within the SageMaker instance. Well, actually using the output of those queries in the SageMaker instance. So here I'm just taking that data, I'm putting in the S3 bucket that I have configured for a crawler so I can use Athena queries. And it goes up in there, and I'm just going to pop over and show you. Here we have all the data that we want. You can see it's just the date and stock quotes data. And we look into our AWS Glue database. We have a database and a table. Database stock data, table stock data CC final. And we have a crawler set up that is just going to look over the S3 bucket that we have and find the data that we want and come up with a schema for it. So I'll just show you that. Sorry. Here's the Athena editor, and so of course using the notebook is all fine and dandy. But ultimately what I want to do is I want to take this data into a SageMaker notebook instance. And so again, I tried really hard to get Athena Query to working within the SageMaker instance. I had no luck. So I had to use my Python SDK to run Athena queries and then use the outputs of those Athena queries in my SageMaker instance. So sorry if that's a little confusing. I know there's a lot to go over. The report is probably the best thing to check for. So we'll stop running this. So again, here we're using our environment variables, and we're creating a Athena client using Boto 3. And then what I'm doing is I'm just making a query for the stocks that had the highest volume within the last day of our data. And so that data, or that query rather, will be output in the form of a CSV in an S3 bucket. And I thought I came up with a pretty clever workaround for not having a perfect connection with Athena Query. So I'm using a date timestamp. And so basically, every time this is run, you would think it would run once every trading day. You would come up with a new directory of that date. And then um, we could then use that date as a key. So it's kind of dynamically reading and writing on the current day. So the output is input in the S3 bucket, and then we actually read the S3 bucket, which I know is a little bit probably too abstract than it needs to be, but I just wanted to get something that worked. And you will see uh, we can read that output here, and we find that these are the symbols that traded the most. So, okay, great. Now we have the symbols that traded the most. We want to actually create a query that returns all the data of those symbols. So that's what we do. We use this HV symbols data frame, and we're going for each unique symbol in that data frame, we're going to make a query. And we're just going to select all where the symbol equals the symbol. And so then that query is outputted in a similar fashion. We're using that date stamp, and that's going to be used in our SageMaker instance. So I'll just show you, this is kind of what it looks like in the S3 bucket. You have our date here. You can tell I'm doing this a day ahead of you guys. And I have volume filtered. These are the outputs for the highest volume, and these are the high volume stocks are the output of all the rows of the highest volume trading stocks. And it'll come up some metadata and 5 CSVs. And so in here, I am using SageMaker. This is the notebook in Jupyter Labs that they have. I'm basically loading a model that I trained to predict the next daily returns. And I'm reading every file within the directory. I'm reading the first 5 CSV files to be exact. And you can see here, I get a list of data frames. And this first data frame, it happens to be NDX. And then so I'm doing a little bit of processing here. And I'll just run this. And I'm giving the model the form of data that it needs to make prediction, making predictions, and then sending over a notification through SNS. Okay, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.